In late 2017, Japanese police entered a small apartment in the city of Zama, and what they found would horrify a nation. Inside were 9 hidden remains, stored in coolers and containers. The man behind it? A seemingly ordinary 27-year-old who used Twitter to find his victims. His online name was Hangman. The media called him the Twitter killer. But who was he really? And how did he go from a quiet, shy, introverted normal guy to one of Japan's most shocking cases? Takahiro Shiraishi was born on October 9, 1990, in Zama, Kanagawa Prefecture. He grew up in a normal home. No reports of trauma, no extreme poverty. But it was just emptiness is what he felt all the time. Childhood classmates described him as forgettable. Not the loner, not the class clown, just a blank slate. He rarely spoke, didn't stand out, and avoided emotional connection, so he hardly any friends. It wasn't that he was angry or depressed. He just seemed lost. He always seemed to be absent. After completing his education, he drifted through jobs, working at various convenience stores, sometimes working at factories, and eventually finding a job in Tokyo's nightlife industry. That's where things took a darker turn. As a scout for adult clubs, he learned how to manipulate people, specifically vulnerable women, mostly young women and sometimes teenagers. He listened, made them feel seen, and convinced them to make dangerous decisions.
In court, he said, "I realized I could control people with words alone." One former co-worker said he had no empathy. Another remembered him bragging about lying just to see how far he could go. Was he always like this? Or did the city change him? Or was it the people he worked with that influenced him? As social media boomed across the world and millions of people got onto platforms like Facebook and Twitter, so did Takahiro. He started venturing on these platforms to connect with people and chat with them. This is when his true identity came out. He could talk to strangers behind a screen without the need for face-to-face conversations, and he could be anyone he wanted to. He soon started spending a lot of time Twitter, and he loved the fact he could create multiple profiles and could talk to multiple people pretending to be anyone. By mid-2017, he had created multiple Twitter profiles and was talking to multiple people, both men and women. One of his bios read, "I want to disappear. DM me if you do too." Another read, "Looking for someone to leave this world with." Between August and October 2017, 9 people responded, mostly young women struggling with mental health and isolation. He messaged them, promising to be a companion in ending their suffering. Some thought they were entering into a tragic pact, but once they stepped into his apartment, the story changed. He would start talking to his victims to further empathize with them, and once they had gained his trust completely, they would let their guard down. And as soon as that happened, he would overpower his victims immediately and with ease. In interviews, he said he did it for control, personal pleasure, and sometimes money. He later told police, "I did it because it excited me." Once the victims were dead, he would dismember them and place their remains in coolers, plastic containers, and toolboxes, layered with cat litter to mask the smell. For weeks, he lived among them, tweeting, eating, sleeping, just like any other neighbor. The only thing locals noticed? A strange odor in the hallway. In October 2017, a 23-year-old woman from Tokyo went missing. Her brother, worried and desperate, hacked into her Twitter messages. There he found someone she'd been speaking to, an account called Hangman. He showed the police the DMS, and they traced the IP address to a small apartment in Zama. On October 30th, 2017, police knocked on the door. When Shiraishi answered, they asked a few questions about her and eventually asked where the missing woman was. Calm, composed, and cool, he pointed to the freezer and said, "She's in the freezer." When the police searched his house, what they saw not just shocked them, but the images horrified them. Inside, police found 9 sets of human remains, 8 women, 1 man. The youngest was just 15 years old. He confessed on the spot, "There's no doubt I did it. I don't want to deny anything." After multiple psychiatric evaluations and strenuous observations, experts confirmed Takahiro was not insane. He was fully aware of his actions. It was just that he just didn't care about his actions. One expert described him as a psychopath, charming when needed, detached, and completely emotionless. He admitted, "I didn't think I'd be caught, and I didn't think I did anything wrong." His trial began in September 2020. Prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence. On December 15th, 2020, Shiraishi was sentenced to the maximum penalty under Japanese law: death. The Zama case shook Japan to its core, not just because of what happened, but because of how easily it did. A man was able to exploit pain, loneliness, and digital anonymity to carry out one of the country's most disturbing crimes. Since then, Twitter has updated its reporting tools and self-harm prevention links. Even with safety nets, the internet remains a dark place. So always be careful while talking to strangers on the internet and sharing your details. You never know who it can be. Always be careful.